Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Nigel Farage is asking a question that I think a lot of people will be asking. And this is all to do with a new appointment that's been announced by Michael Gove. Gove wants to install a new authority, a new person with his own team to question and take a check on anti-Muslim feelings in this country. He wants to have an anti-Muslim Tsar, if you will, because he's concerned that a lot of people don't like Muslims. Now, do we even need such a thing? Why is there a need to have someone doing a check, looking at the press, looking at people's attitudes against Muslims? What has happened that has meant that Muslims need this special protection? One only has to look at what the Jews are suffering at the moment because of how the Muslims are making the Jews feel. Will we be having an anti-Semitic Tsar? When I say that, I mean a Tsar for anti-Semitism, not an anti-Semitic Tsar. We've got one of them already, haven't we? He's called Sadiq Khan. But this appointment is very controversial. Will we be getting an advisor on anti-British hatred? There seems to be a lot of that from certain quarters. You can't be out there protecting one group and not protecting all groups. To specify one group indicates that the British people are against that particular group for some reason. First of all, not everyone in Britain is against them. Secondly, if there is a reason for this feeling, wouldn't it be better to look at the reasons why this group seems to require this protection? Is it something that this group is saying or doing? Is there some reason why this group is loathed so much? Maybe investigate that. Maybe look to see why people have had enough of this particular group and say, oh, this group is causing a problem because of its beliefs in this or its beliefs in that or its actions towards other types of people. This particular group hates gay people. Is that a problem? This particular group treats women as second-class citizens. Is that a particular problem? And investigate things like that. And so, yes, we need to know why is Gove appointing this particular role to protect this particular group. Now, Farage has seen this. He's up in arms about it. He's taken a pot shot at Michael Gove. He's asking him why this is even a thing. He was on Twitter. I can't keep calling it X. I hate that. But he was on Twitter to issue this response. And he struck a rather sarcastic tone. And he asked the same thing. When will we be getting a new advisor on anti-British hatred? Thanks. And of course, answer came there none. Because that would indicate that there was a problem within certain areas. And Gove doesn't want to admit it. He doesn't want to shine a light on the real problems, and so he's hoping to mollycoddle and bend the knee to a particular group. In the same way that during the budget, Jeremy Hunt announced a £1 million fund to build a war memorial explicitly for Muslims, rather than having a war memorial for all who fought for Britain and having all their names, regardless of their background, on that wall. When you look at the cenotaph, that represents all soldiers. It doesn't represent black soldiers, Jewish soldiers, Islamic soldiers. It doesn't represent any soldier in particular. And that, of course, is the whole point. The cenotaph is there for everyone. So why do the Muslims get a specific memorial? It does mean, of course, that the far right will have somewhere where they can go and attack. Is that what he's doing? He's creating a focal point. It seems a very bizarre thing to do. But there seems to be all of these senior politicians seem to be bending the knee to Islam. Instead of saying to Islam, either sort yourselves out, stop doing what you're doing, or kindly find somewhere else that's more suited to your particular needs and go live there. If you want to come into our country, then you adopt our ways, our culture, our attitudes. And if you don't like it, please take your medieval beliefs elsewhere. We treat women as equals. We do not have a problem with gay people. If you don't like that, perhaps this culture is not for you. But instead, they're all bending the knee, kissing the ring and telling them, oh, it's okay, we'll change our ways so that you can tolerate us, even though they are intolerable of our ways. It was announced earlier the week that the 56-year-old Tory veteran is expected to announce that we're talking about Gove, is expected to announce that a guy called Fiyaz Mughal is the favourite to take on the role. And he has worked. I'll give him his due. He has worked. He's a Muslim. He has worked against anti-Muslim hatred and extremism. He has that, but only because it's for the betterment of the people that he's fighting for, i.e. Muslims. He's not fighting for a better society. He's just looking for better opportunities for his group. And he sits there and they call Islamophobia this, Islamophobia that. They're always calling out calls for Islamophobia. It's not Islamophobia. A phobia is an irrational fear. But it's not irrational to be fearful of things that do actually harm you, that do actually cause these problems. He said we should give hope instead of hate. Well, he's telling that to us. Perhaps he needs to turn around and address the people behind him, because that's where the fear and the hate is coming from. And to have this, I think, is so bad. We only have to look at the various things. Ever since 2001, you have 9/11, as the Americans call it. You had that. We had our own 7/7 in London. That's 20 years ago nearly. Then you've had the October the 7th. But all of the place, it's all over the place. There's Jewish free zones in London now where Jews dare not go for fear of attack. And yet no one's standing up for them. But the moment that you say a word against someone who happens to be Islamic, oh, it's Islamophobia. It's not. And one only has to look north of the border, because just today on Twitter, Hamza Yousaf, because someone dared criticise him, has immediately said it's Islamophobia. It's not. What Craig Houston done, brilliant video. Go and see the video. It's called, the channel's Craig Houston Talks To. If you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it. Craig Houston's called him out on what he's done. Craig Houston never once mentioned that he was Muslim. Craig Houston has never ever said anything that he was remotely Islamophobic. And yet, the first go-to response by Hamza Yousaf is, oh, it's Islamophobia. Calling someone out for what they've done is not Islamophobia if you happen to be a Muslim. It's just the facts. And he doesn't like the facts. And that's the problem. Now, when are we going to get the anti-Jewish Tsar? Tell me that, Mr. Gove. One only has to look at the fear and the trouble that you have caused in this country for Jews by not standing up for them, by not stopping and clamping down on these ceaseless, unending riots and marches and protests in London for a cause which has nothing to do with this country. You're getting hatred spouted, you're getting ethical slurs spouted, and the police stand there and do nothing because the police are too craven, too cowardly, and think that if they go in and arrest these people, they will be seen as Islamophobic, instead of doing what they're damn well paid to do, which is to keep the king's peace. What's all about this, Mr. Gove? What are you doing about it? Why are you encouraging it? Why is you and your government tolerating it? Is it because you too, like the police, are craven and cowardly? I think we all know the answer to that. Thank you very much.